Friends, today let us understand the concept of moksha. This is a rather difficult concept in the sense that moksha, we all know that it is one of the four purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These are the four purusharthas, are the human goals. And this moksha is something which is the final human goal for which the topmost priority is attached. So moksha is something which has to be attained, and that is the topmost priority for a human being. A man may follow dharma, a man may attain artha, a man may attain kama, but then at the end of all, he has to attain moksha, because moksha is the only thing which can give him permanent happiness. In all other things, there is no permanent happiness. Atyantika dukkha nivrittir moksha. Atyantika dukkha nivritti means totally, without any sort of doubt, that dukkha nivritti, eradication of all distress, eradication of all misery is only possible through moksha. It does not mean that moksha is something which is there situated in some heaven or something like that. It only means that moksha is a proper understanding of one's own self. Moksha is not a place. It is not something like a swarga. It is not a place. But moksha is only understanding one's own nature. So that is what is moksha. And what is this moksha? Then, if we see the etymological meaning of it, it comes from the root munch. Munch means to release. Release from what? To get released from all types of false links which we have. So a man, the moment he is born into a particular race, he is born into a particular caste, he is born as a male or female, he is having some social status. All these things, these are all appellations, these are all labels which are there on a person. So a man is born free, as somebody said, a man is born free, but everywhere he is bound in chains. That is what one French philosopher said. Something like that. A man has so many bondages around him, and we are not, as Vedanta is not asking you to remove all those bondages. So long as you are there in this transactional world, you will have all those things. You also belong to a particular race, you also belong to a particular, you are a member of a particular gender, and then you are having a particular nationality, you are having a passport and whatnot. You are not leaving all that. But still, every person is something different from all these things. So that is what is his nature. Vedanta, the primary question in Vedanta, we know, who am I? What is that I? The core of that I. Who is that? What is that? Once you know that, all these appellations, all these other things, labels which you have on you, all these things will disappear. That is what Shastra says. Then moksha, the Shastra also says, moksha is something which is not karma sadhyam. Karma sadhyam means something which can be achieved by a karma. All other things, suppose you say about swarga. Swargam is there. What is swargam? Heaven. Heaven is achieved by doing a particular yaga. You go to a Panditji, catch hold of a group of Pandits, and then let them all do this yajna, and then let somebody recites Rigveda, somebody does Yajurveda and all these things, and then you are the Yajamani, and then there is an apurva which is created, and because of that apurva you get into heaven. So the swarga is something, the heaven, so-called heaven, is something which is achieved by a karma. So whether it is a supernatural result or whether it is a mundane result in transactional world, this is something which is achieved. So anything achieved is something temporary. Anything achieved is impermanent, it is temporary, because there is a particular tenure. You do some yajna and then you go to swarga. There is a tenure in that swarga, and that after that tenure you come back. So which means that whatever result you get by a karma is something which is temporary. So karma, it is characterized by 3-4 things. Whatever karma does, karma produces something. Karma produces a result. It is called utpadyam. Utpadyam is something which is produced. Suppose I say, I produce a pot, or I produce a pen, let us say, why pot only. So I produce something. So this is called utpadyam. That is something which has been created, which was not earlier there, which has now come into existence. Then the second feature of a karma, result of a karma is, it is a samskaryam, which means it can be modified. I want to change, say, the way it has to be, I want to hold it. So I can change it, I can change the design. Then Vikaryam, I want to totally modify it and then do it into a totally different, say like your iPad, different versions come. So a different version I want to bring about, and then a totally different version I can also bring. So that is called Vikaryam. Then it is also called Apyam. Apyam means something you can get from anywhere. So I can go to a shop and then I can get. Karma Sadhyam, whatever is Karma Sadhyam, you can also go and you can get it. You can also get it from outside. Then whatever is produced by this karma is something which is nashtam. Ultimately that is what perishes. It is impermanent, as I said just now. So moksha, if it were to be attained by any karma, if it were to be, if it is something which can be got by any ritual, by some yajna or yaga, it will be reduced to this status only. Shastra says moksha is not like that. Moksha is something which is nityam, which is eternal. What is that moksha? Then again Shastra says jnanat moksha, jnanadeva kaivalyam. That is only by knowledge. What is this knowledge? Only by understanding. What is this understanding means? Understanding the nature of self. It is only by chintanam. Then what is this chintanam? We have to see. So all this human say dharma, when you talk about dharma is basically, it is something which leads you to prosperity. It leads you, it gives you this artha and kama in a proper manner, it leads you to prosperity. Then when you talk at the level of yoga talks only about mind control. Then you go to the level of upasana. Then upasana, what is there? Upasana, you invoke the blessing of a Lord. Upasana, it is say thinking about or contemplating on the nature of a deity and then requesting, praying for something from that deity. So you are actually depending on some divine intervention there. Upasana, there is a divine intervention plus a little bit of human effort also is there. So that is it. But jnanam is totally opposed to this yoga and upasana part. Karma, yoga and upasana are totally different from this jnana, where jnanam involves only chintanam. That is contemplation, that is by analyzing, who am I? So like, I tell one line, the human being, what are the tools with him, available with him? The tools available with him are the five senses, the mind. These are the only tools which are available with him. And then these tools, and there is a human body, there is a prana, shakti in the body. So these are the only tools which are available with him. And then with these tools only he has to think and then he has to know what is there. Then jnana, about this moksha, there is also one more saying. The moksha, if you know that, you become that. Brahmavit, brahmaiva bhavati. So is there anything? Is there anything anywhere where by knowing that you become that? So then if at all there is something which is obtained by merely knowing, then what should it be? Then if at all there is something which can be obtained by knowing, then what is it? Then it means that it is already there something with you. It is already there something with you, and then what is it that is hiding? What is it that is hiding means your own avidya or your own wrong impressions, your own false impositions of false identity on yourself. You are having a false identity. I am thinking I belong to this particular race. I belong to this caste, I belong to this particular varna, I am a male, I am a female, all these things which are there in my mind, these are putting some label on me and then which are not allowing me to see my own real nature. So this is what is all characterized by the word avidya. Avidya does not mean total ignorance. Avidya means wrong vidya, wrong information. It is not total lack of information, it is wrong information which is superimposed on your own self. Then there is another question relating to moksha. Moksha, is it something which you get only after death? Vedanta says it is not after death. This realization comes here and now. The moment you are very strong in contemplation, if you are able to think properly, and then you can realize in this life itself. It is not something which is there, which is after life. It is something which is available here. So moksha does not mean death, and moksha does not mean total withdrawing from activity. Moksha also does not mean that a realized person, he becomes a recluse and whatnot. Moksha does not mean inaction. A person like Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, he is a person who is that Atma Swarupa. There are many other jnanis who are also who are also doing their karma. That is called jnani karma. So, but then whatever they do, that karma is not, karma phalam is not getting attached to that, but then they are engaged in karma. So that means jnanam or moksha does not mean inaction. Then moksha should not be confused with this swargam also. I just now said swargam is something which is attained by a karma. Moksha is not something which is attained by karma. It is attained only by chintanam. It is only attained by contemplation. So all these things we have to see about moksha. Then another question about moksha is, if it is already there with me, then what is the great additional benefit? Already there. But the only thing is you are not aware of it. You are not aware of it and you are not happy about it. Once you are not aware, naturally you are not happy about your own situation. In fact, Shankaracharya gives an example in one Upanishad Bhashya where there is a prince. That prince, say he gets lost in a jungle in his early infancy, and then he is brought up by some forester. And then that king or that boy also, he thinks that he is a forester. He thinks that he is just some tribal person who is there in a forest. After a few years, once he grows up, then suddenly some sage sees him and then he recognizes him. He identifies that he is the son of that particular king who has been lost in the jungle. And then he tells him, no, you are not a mere forester. You are so and so king's son. Then from that time, the moment he knows that he is a king's son, then his natural tendencies, they develop in him. He slowly collects an army, and then his natural potential was there in him, it gets manifest, and then he goes and then he gets back his kingdom. So like that, he gives an example. This is to show that a person who has forgotten his identity, he realizes his identity and then he realizes his self. So in that context, we should not stretch that example too far, basically to show that he realizes his identity and then he gets that pleasure, he gets that happiness. So a human being, by discarding all these false impositions on him, he realizes his own self, and then that itself is moksha. So these are certain things which are about moksha in a nutshell. Thank you.